So today I am going to discuss about the requirements in the industries. What is the main requirement for the industry? Which language you is much needed, and if you know the language, how well you know the language is more important than how many language do you know. If you know one language, it is okay, but the depth of the knowledge in a particular language is more important than knowing multiple languages, because many of us knows many languages. We know, we start from one language and switch from on another language, then we switch on a third language and switch on a fourth language, but we don't know much about a single language. Even we know more about this the C language. This is much more important, because if you are using C language, if you know the C language, it is quite enough to build your concept. Suppose if I will give you a program to write, because when you are going to sit in the placement, your colleague will also know the languages and you will also know the language. So what is the difference you will present in front of interviewer? So how will you show that you know better? For that, if I will give you a program to write, so how optimized you are able to write a program? Suppose your friend write a similar program in 10 lines and you are able to create that program in much efficient way and able to write in 3 or 4 lines, then this will give you a much more impact, because nowadays data is the main thing, and data is not we cannot consider that it's 100-line data or 200 people's data. The data is much richer than this. There's a lakhs of millions of data present in a file. To optimize that file, to analyze that file, you need to write an optimal code which will give you a better result in a lesser time. If you are able to produce, for example, if we all aware of this COVID situation. Okay, so everyone is trying to develop the medicine of this COVID, but if it took 10 to 12 years to develop the medicine for this COVID, so what is the use of that? Because if you take 12 years to develop a medicine which will cure, so then this time span is much higher, even though you are giving a better result. But if there is any system which can calculate or which can able to generate the model and create an efficient drug structures for you, and it will take 1 or 2 years to give you the medicinal structure, then it will be a more efficient way. So currently we are working in that way. That's why I am giving you this example. So currently ideally the medicine development will took around 10 to 12 years to discover a new medicines, but by using the computational process, supercomputers and supercomputing computation process, we are able to map the structures of different proteins and able to develop the medicinal structure to which will give the better result or cure for this COVID situation. So in the same way, if we are writing code, if we are writing the code, then we have to write the code in an optimal way. We all know the website development. We can easily develop the website, but there is far more thing which can be done in the website itself. Suppose you are creating a login page. It's quite easy. You can create a input username, input password, and submit button, and you can fetch the data from the database, and that's it. You will able to create a login page. But do you know, is it secure? Is your web page is secure from the attacks, or it is quite good enough to be published on the website, or to be because there are a lot of attackers in the platform, and they will try to always try to attack on your web pages on databases. So so if you want to be a web developer, web designer, be specific, know your interest. What is your interest? You are a good designer, web designer, a UI and UX designer. If you are good in program codings, then you can be a data scientist, or you can be any type of developer. But knowing the thing, what you know and what you don't know, it's good for you. Because if you presume that you know thing, suppose in front of interviewer you say that I know web designing, I know web development, I know this language, that language, and if the interview starts and the interview starts firing you question and you are not able to answer some of the questions, that is not good. But if you know a single language, you say be specific, I know Python language. Python is a language which spreads in a many fields. You can develop the mobile app using Python, you can develop the website using mobile Python language, you can do machine learning using Python language. There are a lot of things that you can do by using Python language. But before going to the Python language, I suggest please learn C language very clearly, because it will build your concept. What is the programming building concept, which is the basic thing for the programming. If you don't know what is the uses of loop, yeah, Arjun, you want to say something?
Arjun, you want to ask some question? It's by mistake.
Sir, please continue. Maybe it's by mistake. Sorry, sir, to interrupt.
No. So what I am trying to say that knowing a particular language is well enough, it's good enough to be part of the industry. And currently the trend is in this era, Python is in the boom, because Python is Python, the peoples are using Python for the machine learning process, for the web development process, and it is performing quite better in all the aspects, and it is easy to learn. So if I ask you, you can answer in this chat. If you want to find just that, if I'll give you a question, that if you want to check that today is the last day of the month, so how will you check? Can anyone give the answer? You can answer it in the chat. How will you check that today is the last day of a month?
Students, answer this in the chat box by writing the instruction.
You can give the concept, or which I can say algorithm. Take 2 to 3 minutes and give your answer.
Student, try to give the answer and write in the chat box, or speak up, unmute yourself and speak up.
So I want to ask, suppose you have the function which will give you the today's date. So how will you check that today is the last day of the month? You don't know anything, only the thing you know that today is the last, not today's date. Suppose today is 23rd September 2021. Namaskar, sir. Did these students learn Python? No
Yes,
Python?
yes. Second year and third year all.
Oh, that's great.
Second
Then
year,
they,
second year is not. Second year will take next semester. The third year has gone through the Python.
then they will give the answer very quickly.
Yeah,
Because
they will give. Yeah, anyone who want to give the answer, please do it quickly.
divide the days with the total number of days in the month. Okay. Anything else? I expect a very good answer from Python students. No one else? So I'll take a continue on this because we have a less amount of time. So traditionally, what we can do, we can check the number of days in a month, and we can check the which month it is, whether it is a leap year or not. We can check all these things. First, we check this is a leap year. Then we check it is February or not. Then we can check that it's some even month or odd month. Then we can check the date. Then we can say that it is a last day of the month. So it will took 3 checks. First is 4 checks. What I can say 4 checks: leap year and February check, is month check, then days check. There are 4 checks, but this is not the optimized way. If you are using 4 conditions, it will taking a time to compute the last day of the month. So there is a library in Python known as a Datetime Library. You can import that library. You can use datetime or date.now. So it will give you the date of the current today's date, and you can extract the date plus 1, or you can increase the day by 1 day. If you can increase the day by 1 day and check whether the date is 1 or not, only what you have to do, you have to read the date, increase the date by 1 day, and read that date of the month, date of the increased month date, whether it is 1 or not. If it is 1, then you can say that today is the last day of the month. Is it clear?
Students,
Yes, sir.
yes, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you think that what earlier you are doing that you are checking the year, then you are checking the month, then you are checking the February condition, then you are checking the day condition. You are checking 4 conditions. In spite of that, what you are doing in the new concept, you are adding 1 day in a current date and extracting the date from that increased date and checking whether it is 1 or not. So your code is much optimized than previous concept. Like that, you have to do optimization in your code. That is the requirement of the industry, because we all have our laptops and systems. We generally purchase i5, i7 laptops or i3 laptops, and what we do just simple programming. Do we know how much core we are using, how much power we are using of a system? Because once we are doing the optimize long runs code, bigger code or heavy computation, then we are capable enough to judge the capacity of our system. So we are in the educational field, or in our study time, when we are doing BTech or MTech or anything, so we used to write an small codes, small chunks of code to learn the language. But if you are curious enough to learn the particular language, then you have to take a dig into that language. So data optimization is, because everything is, as Jyoti said, everything is data. Data is everything. So if you want to analyze the market, if you are a businessman, then you have to analyze the data, that what is the trend, what, and you have to predict the future trends by using the data analysis. So it is not the data is not you have to analyze the last 5 year or last 10-year data to predict the future. Like if you see that the prediction of this atmosphere weathers is given by the department. So how they will predict that after the rain is monsoon is after 3 years or 3 days or 5 days. So they analyze the atmosphere as well as the past data. So they analyze both the things, and then they will give you a certain result that might be possible. There is a chance of rain after 2 days, after 3 days, after 4 days. So Jyoti, if you can stop sharing, I'll share some small codes.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah, I can see. Give me 2 minutes. I'll just see what I can show. So the Python students are well aware of this library, Pandas library. Okay. So basically, Pandas library is used to analyze the data, because it does, it read all your data and store it in a data frame, and you can perform the operations on that data frame, which will good enough or efficient to produce you the result. What I can show you. Yeah, there are some small codes that I will show you. So just I want to show you this code. So what this code does, print the number from 6 to 9. So what I have given here, the range of 10, and what I am checking a condition over here, if x is greater than 5. So we can do in another way, we can create a loop, for loop, the same which we are doing here. We can create a for loop, and then we can check the condition, then we can print it. But writing in this way is the optimal way to write the code, because at the time of in this way, at the time of reading this number, it is also checking your condition. In spite of that, if you are writing the code in for loop, then we are using if condition. In the small runs, it will not give you a much effect. In the small runs, it will not give you a much difference. It will you are not able to analyze the difference between this and the not traditional method. But when you are giving the long runs, it will give you a very much difference. Like the similar, there is a map function. What map function does, suppose you have a function, predefined function, or you have a function and the same operation you want to perform in a list, in a complete list. So instead of writing a loop to perform the same operation on each elements of that list, we create a map function. In this map function, you can see that lambda x plus 1. So what it is doing, it is increasing all the element of a by 1. So in this we are using the parameter a as a list, and we are passing the list, and we are reading each element in X and increasing each element by X plus 1. So by using this way, we are avoiding the loop statements. So like these small optimization code will help you a lot. I'm not going much deeper because we have very less time. So I'm just giving you a glimpse of all this optimization things. Next we have pandas. So in the pandas, generally the data which we receive is in either CSV format or either in TSV format. TSV stands for tab separated values and CSV stands for comma separated values. So in the CSV, each data is separated by a comma. So if we want to read the data of CSV files, so if we in the traditional way, if you read the CSV file and iterate, first you have to check the how many number of lines over in there in the CSV file, then you are able to iterate, or you can do a while loop when it is end of file. In the C programming language, what we do, we read the file and we will check until it reach until end of files. But in the CSV format, in this reading CSV format, what you can do, just import pandas library and use function read underscore CSV and pass the CSV path. What it will do, it will create a map of that CSV file into its memory, into its data frame. So there are generally three types of data frame, three types of data structure in pandas. One is series, second one is data frame, and third one is I don't remember the name, but series is 1D, and this data frame is 2D data. So mostly data frames are used for the analysis of the data because we have number of rows and number of columns. So it is considered as a 2D data set. So we will read the data. So in this CSV file, there are the list of data for the department, offices, and rating. So what I have done, I have read the data. To check the data headers, just write df.head. So it will give you the first top 5 lines of your data set. Top 5 lines. It will give you the just glimpse of what data contains, what this file contains. So you can able to know that, yes, okay, this file contains the information of a department, office, and its rating. If you want to check the tail shows that end data, last 5. Just if you write just data frame.tail, it will give you the last 5 data. And you can also specify in the bracket of head. Yeah, here you can also specify how many rows you want. You can row 1, you can row 2, you can row 3. So it will show you a top 5, top 10, top 200, whichever how much number you want. You can specify the number and it will show you the results. Then you have small function. You can use the counts, how many counts are there and how many values are present in this data set. So this count function give you the glimpse of data, that how much data is present in each columns. Like ID, you have seen that 533 data is present. In the department, 533, offices 500, but in the rating section to 524. It means some of the departments or offices doesn't have a rating. So you have first glimpse of that. Some data is missing in this database or data file. And there is a function describe. What it does, it will take the numerical values. So it will consider your rating values, because rating is a numerical value. And what it does, it will give you the counts, mean of that data, standard deviation of the data, min or 25%, 35%, and maximum value. It will just give you this basic information from that data sets. So if we want that suppose we all are having COVID vaccine. So if you want to analyze, if we have the data of vaccinated people, so if you want to analyze what is the maximum age people which has the medicine, this vaccine, or what is the average age of this people's having this vaccine, or what is the minimum age. So just what we need to do, we need to only import that data and just write describe function. So it will give you the minimum age, maximum age, average age, because you can see that mean, minimum, and maximum is present over there. So you need not to write a much code for that. Just you need to import a library, pandas as PD. Pandas as PD means you are aliasing pandas as PD. In the future, you are referring, if you are using PD, then it will refer the panda library. So what you need to do, you need to import the panda library, import pandas as PD, pd.read CSV file. You have read the CSV file. Then what you have done, pd.describe. So it will describe the data in few seconds. In spite of that, instead of writing your traditional method for loop and iterations, what you have done, only 2 lines of code, and it will give you the result in flick of seconds. If you don't know about the data, what is the what the head contains and what the columns contains, just you can write this small commands. df.columns, it will give you the column headings, and df.shape, it will give you the overall structure of the database, that what is the x and y axis, how many rows and how many columns are there in the data sets. You can get the information about that data. df.info is not much needed. You can also manipulate the data. If you want to extract only the few columns, then you can also do that in the data pandas data frame. And suppose you want to extract the information of a particular location, then you can use the lock function. There are 2 functions, lock and ilock. What lock functions do, it requires the name of that column or the row. So we have provided this office is the column name. Office is a column name. So lock function requires the column name. But while in the ilock means location, index of the location. Lock means location and ilock means index of the location. ilock requires the index of that location. The data which you want to extract, you have to write the index of that data to extract the information. And for the location, you have to write this name of that column to extract the information, or a name of the column and name of the row. So in this case, you have to write the 0, 1, 2, 3. So what we have done, we have written this 0 to 10. So what is it is doing? 0 to 10. So it is giving the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because range function will give you the output as 0 to 9. It will extract the information from row 0 to 9 and office in the heading, column name office. While in the ilock function, what I have done, so I have given the range from 1 to 5. So I can write in this way also, I can write in this way also. So just written this to demonstrate to you that these 2 ways are possible to extract the information.
Yeah.
Hello? Anything?
No, sir. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah. Then there is a function and unique. So what this function does, it will give you the number of unique values. So what I have done? N unique. What in data frame dot office means office column. I want to check the how many unique offices are there in this data frame. So what did I have done? df dot office dot n unique, and drop n is equal to true means if there is any value which contains the none value, which is none, remove that none. Do not show us the none count. So drop n is equal to true means drop the none value. So we by using this we are able to identify the unique values count in the traditional way. In the traditional way, what we can do? Can anyone tell how to check the unique value in a list? Anyone? In general, what we can do to check that whether this is a unique number of unique values. What we can do, we can read the value and store in the next array and check whether this new value is belong to the first array or not. If it is not, then insert that value. If it is not, it is present, then discard that value. Like that, we can iterate, and at the end we have the list of unique values. Then we can count the number of new values in the new array. So for that we have to iterate once, then iterate at the second time. First time need to identify the unique value, second time to count the number of unique values. Or what we can do, at the time of first iteration we can increase the count. At that time increase the count, then we can able to check that there is n number of values are unique in that column. So in that case you have to iterate through a loop, but in this Pandas library it can be done within a second. If you have a single 1D data, then it can also be done by using Pandas series. So you can use series to identify the unique values or anything which is the properties, which are the properties of this Pandas. This is a different thing. What I can. So this is the pivot table. Pivot table is the way to analyze the data given in the table. So what I have done to demonstrate to you, I have created a pivot table of the data on the data office. So what is showed us, it showed that unique offices having the average rating. All the unique offices available and their unique ratings, mean rating. By default, it will show you the mean of that value. If you can use the aggregate function, you can write an aggregate function over here, comma separator and aggregate function, and you can change the aggregate function by using the NumPy library, NumPy np.sum. So what it will do, it will sum all the ratings of that particular office. For Bangalore, it will sum all the offices rating for Mumbai. If you will not provide the aggregate function, by default it should give you the average value. So, yeah, and you can also do the pivot table based on the by using the multiple columns. So what I have done in the department and office. So what it has done, it has find the unique departments, because I have written this in the starting. So what it has identified unique departments, then it has identified the unique offices in that department, and then it has calculated the average value of that particular department and office. So you have a glimpse of the data in a second, within a second or minute. If the data is big, it will take 1 minute or 2 minutes to display the result. But you have to do nothing. Just a small line of code will give you the much aspect. Suppose for the educational field, suppose you are a programmer and you want to seek a job. So if you want to analyze the which programming language is to be used, so you can analyze, you can find the data from the website that how many companies are seeking the Python programming language, how many companies are seeking for the C programming language, in which location they are seeking for the which preferred language. So you can create a table and you can analyze that table that okay, in Delhi C language is on boom, in Bangalore Python is much required, or web development is much required. So you can create your own data and analyze that data based upon your requirement. So you can always just think in that way. Always try to find and analyze the data before doing anything. So this is the example of aggregate function. So what I have done, the aggregate function and rating for the rating. So what I have applied the mean and the sum on that. First it is applied the mean, then we applied the sum. So you can use the aggregate function to apply. So mean for the department and aggregate function for the office. The sum of that. You can if you are not providing anything, then by default it will take the mean value. You can always provide, if there are multiple columns having the numerical value, then you can always specify on which value you want to provide, you want to analyze the data. And if I have provided the value rating, it is giving the rating of that mean value of that rating. Then there is a function group by. So in this, if we know the SQL language, we always used group by function to bind up similar type of data. So by using this group by function, we can group the particular data and analyze that data. So what I have done this in this data frame, I have grouped by based on the office. Then what I have done, I have analyzed the first data. So Bangalore, Mumbai. So it is based on the grouping. Get groups means the information of that particular group. So I want to extract the information in that particular group only. So I want to extract the information of New Delhi only. So what I have done in the group data, I have passed the value of that New Delhi, office location as New Delhi. Then it will give you the data of that particular location only. And there are much more functions. So I'm not going to give you the glimpse because yeah, this I will show you. If you have two data frames having a common value in that, suppose for our faculty members, I'm going to tell you about that. Suppose we have the data about our data of our students for first year, second year, or first semester, second semester, and third semester, and fourth semester in different sheets. In data sheet 1, data sheet 2, data sheet 3, data sheet 4, and we want a summary of that students in a one table. Then traditionally what we can do, We can open the data in Excel sheet and copy the students list in one sheet, one by one. So it will take time, and it might be possible sometime we are not able to focus on while copying, and we will miss some data. Or suppose we can say in first year data, first sheet, the data is in ascending order, and the second year sheet is in the descending order. Then what we can do? So it's a tedious task to merge that data. So in spite of that, what we can do, we can read the data in one data frame and read the data in second data frame, read the data in third data frame, and use the Pandas library to merge that sheet. Just a small Python program. What we can do, pd.merge, and in the bracket we can pass the number of data frames which we want to merge, d1, d, d2, d3, d4, as many as we want to merge. And what is this left hand and right hand? Sorry. What this left hand and right hand means? It means that in the left, in the first data frame, what is the field upon which you want to merge, perform the merge, and on the right means in the D2 frame, what is the field name upon which you want to perform the merge operation. So in this example, what I have done, in the data frame 1, I have created the names, while in the data frame 2, I have created a name. So it's a not good practice to perform that merging operation on a name, but just to demonstrate, I have created this. So every student have a unique roll number, so we can perform the merging based on the roll number. So if the field name is common, then no need to write this. It will automatically find the unique values and it will perform the merge. While and this how there are 4: left join, right join, inner join, and outer join. So based on your requirement, you can use the left join, right join, inner join, or outer join. Once you are done with this, you can have the list with all the data in a single file, and you can analyze the data easily because all the data is in single place. So this is just a small glimpse. You can, Pandas library is very huge. It is a vast library, and it has ample number of functions present in it. If I get a chance, so I'll take you through all these functions in the library, and it will take me approximately 7 to 8 hours to deliver this to you. But I'm just giving you the small glimpse that how you can use this optimized library to analyze your data. So if you want to be a good developer, if you want to prove yourself in the industry, if you want to get a good packages, then you have to learn a language very deeply. Now, whether if you want to be a developer, then go for the developing language, but fix your field. You want to be a developer, you want to be a designer, you want to be anything which you want. Be specific and learn that language, because in this life, student's life, you are having a time to learn things. But once you are in the industry, you have to prove yourself each and every day. This is a bare truth. You have to prove each and every day about your abilities. So there is no time to learn new thing in the industry. You have to polish yourself. So it's a good time. If you are a student, it's the best time to learn. Take your time, learn things. You have teachers, you have mentors, anything. You have lot of supports because you have teachers. The teacher will give you a very descriptive knowledge. You have to extract the knowledge from the teachers. Take your time, learn the language very deeply. And anything do you want to ask?
Students, please ask questions.
Suppose anyone want to develop an app. Generally, student used to develop an app for Android app. So, do you know there are multiple other platforms available which by using that platform you can build the cross-platform applications. Use like Flutter. Flutter developed by the Google by using the Dart language. It will help you to develop the Android application, iOS, Windows application, Linux application, as well as the Android application, Android, iOS, Windows, and web application. So all these four applications can be developed in a single code. And currently, no need to worry about the computational power of your system, because there are multiple online platforms which is available and giving you the computational platform as free, like Google Colab. It is giving you Google Colab is providing you the GPU services to test your codes. It is not giving the much higher GPU, but it is good enough. If you have i3 laptop, then also you can do machine learning in Google Colab, and your code is also saved in that repository. There are multiple things. If you want to learn, you can learn.